Okay, so now let's talk about the 4 at a time half square triangle method. The main thing to understand and to know about the 4 at a time method is that you're going to have an exposed bias edge on your fabric. The best way to describe a biased edge is try to stretch the sides of your fabric. You hear it like almost popping. But if you come to the middle, see how much that stretches? It's a lot. So you just have to understand when you make the 4 at a time half square triangles, the edges of your triangles are actually going to have those bias edges. Some people really don't like this method, and that's why, because these are really easy to stretch or work. But you can totally work with it and you can make it work as long as you just think through and know what you're doing. Biggest tip I have for this is to go ahead and starch your fabric. I give them a good spray kind of as I'm cutting my square. I'll go ahead and starch this. And then after I sew my seams, I'll go ahead and give it another starch and a press. Then whenever I'm pressing with my iron, when I'm pressing them open, I just go straight down. I do not iron and swoop them out, swoop the edges, anything like that. That's important to remember. You want to treat these with care, treat them very gently. They're very delicate. Okay, so move back to our overhead shot here. Okay, so what I did, I got my background square. And again, I'm doing black and white so that there's a lot of contrast so that you guys can really see what I'm doing. There's really nothing to mark here at all. I went ahead and used just a regular pencil to mark 1/4 of an inch along each side. Oh, that's upside down. And around each side of the square. So there's a 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch. So you basically are sewing a 1/4 inch around the entire perimeter of the square. There's a little bit of trimming room in these, but I would recommend you pin your squares together because you don't want them shifting around when you're at your machine sewing them together. So I'll go ahead and sew these. We'll come back and look at what that looks like. Right. So we're back. This looks kind of silly because it's on the back of my fabric, but you'll see that I've gone ahead and I sewed a 1/4 inch seam around the entire perimeter of the square that my 4 half square triangles are coming from. What you're going to notice is that I'm going to give this a good press with a little bit of starch, or starch alternative. I use Best Press. You can use whatever starch you have on hand. Cheap stuff works just fine. In fact, sometimes even better. You just want to get a nice sort of stable, steady finish on your fabric before you expose these bias edges. Okay, so now what we're going to do is use our ruler to go ahead and make our cut. So we're going to cut first along one diagonal. And then without moving, cut along the other diagonal. Very carefully. And you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 half square triangles. What you're going to do is trim these, open them up, and trim the little dog ears off. And you're going to notice that you have 4 identical half square triangles. So that's really fun.